Talks there, Luke here, and welcome back to the series on the Audi A3. Previously I tackled the exterior, which is pretty filthy, and I did that over the course of one day since I had a garage available with ramps. Today I'm doing the interior, which is probably even worse than the exterior was. I'm filming this video over the course of a couple of weeks, as I've been very busy. I was just doing half an hour before work and maybe half an hour when I came home. Once again, since this is a pretty long video, I'm doing this mostly unscripted, so if I go off on a ramble, I do apologise, as I'm going to try and narrate this as I'm watching the video. As you can see, every surface of this car was filthy. There was just oil, grease, food, mud, and something that smelled like sick underneath the rear floor mats. The car felt used, very used, and that's a shame because the thing I love about this vintage of Audis more than anything are their interiors. So hopefully I'll be able to restore some of its former glory and make the car a more pleasant place to be. I'm going to be keeping this as simple as possible. For the most part, I'm using Sam's all-purpose cleaner, diluted to different ratios, a pile of microfiber cloths, some brushes, a spray bottle with warm water in it, and of course a vacuum cleaner. Despite being easier and being able to achieve much better results, I'm not using a hot water extractor. It's winter, and whilst I was filming this, the temperature was a couple of degrees Celsius. There just really wasn't enough heat for a car to dry out properly if I use this method. Hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon to be alerted of all future videos. First up was to remove all the floor mats carefully and shake them off outside. I should also note that the car is still in daily use in between shots, so although not ideal, dirt will get reintroduced during this detail. I'm not aiming for 100% perfection, just a relatively clean daily drive at this point. More intensive cleaning will come later in the year. Here I'm giving the car a very quick vacuum, just to see what I'm up against. I'm not aiming to remove every bit of dirt from the carpet or the seats. I probably spent about 15 minutes just getting all the very loose debris up. Back left is probably the worst footwell of them all. You can see there's lots of staining on here. I mean, the carpet itself comes up pretty well, but with a very quick clean. So one thing's nice about Audi carpets, you do tend to not keep dirt embedded in them too bad. But this didn't smell until I started actually cleaning it up, and I think this is either sick or spilt milk, so either one is not very nice. So I'm going to have to go and get some chemicals on here. Give us a really good deep thorough clean, try and get those smells away. It seems to be a similar smell coming from the front left footwell as well, the passenger one. Seems to be similar smell orientating, and it didn't really become apparent until I started actually agitating stuff and disturbing the fibres in the carpet. I started the actual cleaning with the headliner. I like to start this way since any drips will fall onto the already dirty interior. This is probably the least dirty part of the car. I diluted the APC 7:1 and wet the end of my detailing brush with it. I worked small sections and didn't oversaturate the headliner. I then wet a microfiber with the APC and gently scrubbed the dirty parts. I don't think the Audi headliners are too problematic since they appear clipped in instead of glued, so sagging isn't as much of a concern. The worst part was the very oily fingerprints on the B-pillars. This just required persistence. Brush, wipe, etc. until they were gone. Some people asked if that was airbag damage when I was driving around in the last video on this car. What's actually happened is that the door rubber has come away and has pulled the fabric with it. I'll be gluing it in place sometime in the near future. Then I tackled the steering wheel. This may seem a bit of a weird order to do things, but this is probably the single dirtiest part of the car. So of course, I don't want to be dripping on anything that's already been cleaned. I put some towels down anyway, so that I wouldn't add to any of the dirt. I started with the APC and a brush to get into the perforated parts of the leather and to spread the APC around. I then got a microfiber with APC on it and gripped the wheel and twisted it back and forth to remove as much surface oil as possible. And of course, as I wait for the dislikes to roll in for this part, I used a magic eraser for the final parts. I literally just let the weight of the sponge do the scrubbing and applied no pressure to it. I've heard arguments all before about not using them. I disagree, so I'm just going to leave it there. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it's my car, my rules. Now onto the seats. I removed the rear bench and was also going to remove the front seats, but it turns out the size of the spline is different on A3 compared to the A4, so they had to stay in. It's kind of a good job I didn't remove them anyway, as the day after I cleaned this I found a full heated leather interior to go into the car, so I'm going to order the spline I need and I'll give those parts of the car a more thorough going over when the new seats are going in. It's a bit of a shame though that I went to the effort to cleaning these. Never mind, maybe we can sell them to cover the cost of the new interior. The cleaning method was pretty simple. Vacuum, apply the APC to a brush and work in circles over a small area. I then wipe over the brushed area and turn the microfiber as I go so that dirt isn't reintroduced. Then I spray warm water over the cleaned parts to help neutralise the APC. I come in with a second dry microfiber and blot the area to help absorb water from the seats. And I know someone's going to freak out I put the seat on the ground and didn't put a mat down first. Like I said, I'm just going for clean, not perfect. Oh, and if anyone's wondering where I got those gloves, I got them from Costco and proof of purchase can be provided. You know who you are. Onto the carpets. I started with a more thorough vacuum and went over with a dry brush to dislodge as much dirt as possible. Then I used the same 7:1 APC and went in with a stiff carpet brush. I applied more product to the stained areas, but for the most part, the mats had done a good job of protecting the carpets. The rest of the carpet cleaning is very much the same as the seats. Wipe with a microfiber, apply warm water, blot and dry, and repeat a second time on the more stubborn parts. The same process was applied to the car mats, although I used a drill brush on them instead. I tend to do the plastics last as dust can settle and show up easily on them. Firstly, I brushed and vacuumed everything. Then it was onto the APC, and I diluted 10:1 on a brush with the aim of getting deep into the textured plastics. Then I wiped off and went over with the APC again and a microfiber. This is more effective at removing dirt that's sitting on top. A vacuum is also good at extracting water that's lodged in between cracks and buttons. Don't worry about the amount of water that's being sucked up, as it's safe with a normal vacuum cleaner. Of course, don't forget to open things like the cup holder and ashtray, and don't be afraid of removing some trim pieces if it makes cleaning easier. Also, don't forget the door jambs, sills and lower parts of the seat too. They're the little things that make the big impression. Although the door card is dirty, there is damage to them. The white dots aren't dirt, and it's something that appears to have bonded into the rubber. I will try to see if they can be picked out sometime, otherwise I might look for some new door cards. After this I did the glass, which I forgot to film, but oh well, it's probably the least interesting part anyway. I finished by applying some G3 fabric protectant to the seat and carpet, and also set the AC to recirculation mode and sprayed an air freshener and odour eliminator into the footwells. With the AC set to recirculation and on full blast, it will suck it up into the vents and distribute it around the whole car. Anyway, if you've made it this far, you deserve some before and after shots. I'm happy with the result. It's not perfect, I know, but the car's no longer a disgusting place to be. I'll be going at the carpet again when I remove the seats in the next couple of weeks. I also didn't touch the boot area as I'm fixing a few faults with the tailgate first, so I'll try to show you some of that at some point. It's actually a testament to the quality of the Audi mats that the front passenger one can be cleaned up like this after 140,000 miles. There's still the outline of the stain left in the rear left, and if the next round with a brush doesn't get it, then I'm going to have to use an extractor once the weather is better. On the front seats, the white spots are actually sunlight, not water spots, if you're wondering. But until next time, thank you for watching, take care, and don't forget to subscribe to see more content on the A3.